Hello, folks. My name is Mark. This is Why I Hate the World. My people's, where you at? So, have a very fun one for you today. Today, we're going to be talking about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and an insane trans-investigating lady and her reaction to it. So, first off, those of you who may have been longtime viewers of my channel, you may remember that I collect toys, and the favorite toy for me that I collect is Masters of the Universe. Because I was a kid in the 80s, and Masters of the Universe was the coolest thing ever made. And now I collect the modern toys that come out. They have a line called Masters of the Universe Origins. They are the greatest toys ever made, and I am trying to go for 100% collection on that. So yeah, I collect toys, and I collect He-Man, and I love He-Man. I've loved it ever since I was a kid, and this does not mean that I do not acknowledge that Masters of the Universe is the gayest thing ever made. It is. It just is. There's a lot of gay symbolism in it. And especially when we're talking about the Filmation cartoon. You know, some of the producers and the people that worked on the show were gay. They were openly gay. And they weren't afraid about adding gay themes to the show in a way that was very subtle and hidden. I mean, if you just think about He-Man in general, it's about a guy who's like naked wearing a chainmail sex harness and like furry underwear. Okay, it's pretty goddamn gay. Here's the opening of the video we're going to be critiquing. And yeah, you can see He-Man's outfit. The man is questioning his sexuality at the least. Now, I say this as a giant fan, it doesn't diminish the show at all in my eyes, because first off, as a small child, all of this goes right over your head. And I had no idea any of this stuff. You know, as a 10-year-old, I was just like, oh, whatever. All I saw was like sword and sorcery and barbarians and, you know, Battle Cat, shit like that. Secondly, as an adult, I think it makes me enjoy the show a little bit more. It's like, oh, well, my favorite property as a child was actually ahead of its time. It was actually progressive. I think that's absolutely fine. And honestly, I don't give a shit what He-Man is. I'm going to love it no matter what. So that's my take. So the video we're going to be watching is by somebody named Wretched Recess. And the name of the video is Fisto's Forest. This is the gayest cartoon ever. Now, you may remember Wretched Recess from a video that we did a few weeks ago about the Flintstones, where we took some time to look at her critique of the Flintstones cartoon, which has been around since the 1960s, where she trans-investigated the Flintstones. I am not making that up. She went through and trans-investigated the Flintstones because, you see, they must have run out of female celebrities to make fun of. And so now they are trying to say that, oh, there's hidden messages of trans stuff in the fucking Flintstones cartoon, which it was the dumbest shit ever. Please, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it if you want to get some background about who this person is. Suffice to say, she's a goddamn wackaloon. And I'm going into this one completely blind, so I'm anticipating we're going to have lots of fun. So let's see what Wretched Recess has to say about He-Man. This is going to be fun. Remember, I haven't watched this shit at all, so here we go.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Let me make the disclaimer. I come in peace. I have gay friends and family. There is no gay bashing in this video, but that doesn't change the fact that this is the gayest cartoon I have ever seen. So,
all right, there's going to be no gay bashing in the video, but in the same sentence, she says this is the gayest cartoon I've ever seen. And you know, if you were cool with gay people, then why are you making a video where you're homophobic about a cartoon, a children's cartoon that came out 40 years ago? That doesn't compute to me. Am I the only person that is not understanding what's going on here? I mean, that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe it's perfectly fucking logical to everybody else, but that kind of sounds like bullshit.
let's talk about it. So like years ago, like more than 15 years ago, I was out visiting a friend in California, and you know nothing good is going to come from that story, but he was like, we were on the Sunset Strip, and I remember he was like, I have to drive you through Boys Town. And I was like, okay, like
Okay.
I was pretty sheltered. I'm not from California. I'm from the Midwest. And I think he knew that and was just trying to show me new things. And
All
he's
right.
like, yeah, we're going to drive through Boys Town. I'm like, what's Boys Town? But like just from the name, I could kind of guess. So we're driving down this city street. I remember it being near the Sunset Strip. It wasn't that far away. He lived in like the Santa Monica area. So I had to Google the name of this just to make sure I had the right, this was years ago, just to make sure I had the right name. But
Okay.
we're driving down the street and all of a
I don't see what any of this has to do with He-Man. I mean, what she's talking about is West Hollywood. That is, yeah, there's a lot of, the homosexual community in Los Angeles is kind of centered around West Hollywood. And honestly, it's kind of a cool place to hang out. The thing is, I'm not even gay. And I used to hang out there. Me and my brother would hang out there. And it's funny, we would go there and guys would, like, this is in the 90s, guys would drive by and yell slurs out to us. And it's like, I'm with my brother, you fucking moron. Like, and the first time that happens, you laugh. You go, oh, ha ha ha, that guy thinks I'm gay, right? The 15th time that happens, you're like yelling back at them, like, pull over, you fucking asshole. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, like, I was yelling back at people, get the fuck out of your car, I'm gonna beat your ass. Like, seriously. And the thing is, I'm not even a gay person. So then I started thinking, I'm like, damn, I can only imagine, like, what actual gay people, like, have to go through in their daily life. If I can't handle being gay bashed just for an afternoon on the street, how could you suffer through that shit in your everyday life? And that was one of those things that actually kind of changed my mind about being homophobic, because I'm not afraid to admit, as a child and as a teenager, I was pretty fucking homophobic. I mean, I think a lot of young men are when they're that age and they don't know anything and they haven't experienced anything. Actually going to where the gay people were and talking to them and hanging out with them and stuff like that. That was one of the things that changed my mind, and kind of seeing life through their eyes for a little bit and how they get treated by just walking down the street. So, yeah, I know this is a little bit of an aside from our video here, but I don't know. I think it's somewhat relevant. I wonder how she reacted to driving around West Hollywood. Let's see.
sudden, like we get to this part of town, like it's like an ocean of men and they're walking down the street like giving each other piggyback rides and kissing and hugging and canoodling on the sidewalk and everything. And the reason I'm telling you this is because like up until this point that was probably the gayest thing I've ever seen, which makes sense.
She's lying. She's 100% lying. This area of the city is not overflowing with gay people having sex in the middle of the street. That is not true. It's a normal part of the city where you walk through and you wouldn't even know it if you didn't know who lived there. There are not armies of men walking around naked with chains and shit on them, that kind of thing, with their dicks hanging out, fucking banging each other right there in the middle of the fucking roadway. That's bullshit. She's 100% fucking lying. I mean, I was down in Hollywood yesterday, for fuck's sake. Like, me and my wife went down we actually went horseback riding right for our anniversary. This is complete 100% bullshit right here. I don't believe this shit for a second. As a Los Angeles native, this does not match with my lived experience. So fuck this lady. But let's continue.
I was in a very gay district, gay area of a very big city. All right. Boys Town in Los Angeles pales in comparison to the gayness I'm about to show you. Let's get into it.
All right.
So, I have seen exactly one episode of He-Man, and it is the gayest cartoon episode I've ever seen in my life. Are all He-Man episodes this gay? I'd like to point out the Knights.
I like how she's forming her opinion after watching one episode. And, of course, with the gayest character in Masters of the Universe, which is Fisto. I mean, Fisto, it's a guy with a giant metal fist. And, like, a porn stash and a porn beard. Yeah. It's obviously, you can see where we're going with this. So there's no denying that it's gay. But I like how she just watches, like, the gayest episode of the show and then says, I've only watched one episode and this is the gayest thing I've ever seen. It's like, you'd think you would, watch a couple more to put it in perspective, I guess, but I guess that's not how the conservative mind works.
Templar cross on He-Man's chest, which is very interesting. See here, so that's a very interesting design for our character. This, of course, is the Knights Templar cross, and you can see it on He-Man's chest there. So, yeah, nothing gay here. I didn't pay attention to He-Man that much when
I mean, the Templar cross is not a gay thing, is it? Is there something I don't know about the Templar's cross? I mean, were the Knights Templar, were they, like, homosexuals or something? Like, do they engage in, like, gay satanic rituals or some ridiculous shit like that? I mean, not that I know of. If anything, He-Man back in the 80s got shit because that cross resembles the Iron Cross used by the German army in World War II. That's actually nowadays, if you look at the redesigns for 2000X and MOTO Classics, they downplay that cross and they make it more of an H design because they want to kind of escape that association. Does that mean He-Man is racist? Does that mean He-Man is Nazi? No. This kind of goes to show it's like, I guess you just sort of interpret things the way you want to. It's funny, I'm surprised that she didn't actually bring that up. She didn't bring up the association with the Nazis and the Iron Cross.
I didn't pay attention to He-Man that much when I was a kid in the 80s. He-Man was huge, but the boys watched He-Man and I was watching Smurfs and, Strawberry Shortcake and that kind of a thing. I really didn't care about He-Man. But something I didn't know is
I wonder how long before she says that the Smurfs are gay. I mean, the Smurfs are obviously fucking gay, if you guys didn't know that. 100 Smurfs, they're all male. There's exactly one female Smurf. I mean, there's gotta be something going on there. Right? I'm pretty sure she'll probably make a video about the gay Smurfs coming soon. Let's continue.
He-Man's homoeroticism and implied homosexuality, who knew? I didn't know. I'm going to have to watch more of these episodes here on YouTube, resulted in the character and show drawing a gay audience when the cartoon first aired, with the character being now viewed as a gay icon. I literally knew none of this. So let's get into the episode that I want to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't know that either as a kid. And the thing is, as an adult, I'm 100% fine with it. I'm like, as a cis male who's married and stuff like that, 100% fine with my favorite childhood franchise being a gay icon. I mean, it's funny how some people get offended at the dumbest fucking things. Here's the thing we gotta remember, folks, right? If you have a problem with this sort of thing, if you have a problem with a fictional character and the way that other people interpret it, then you should really remember that you don't get to dictate what other people think and feel. And if you don't like it, you can shut the fuck up. That's really what it is. The thing is, do you like the franchise? Yes or no? If you like it, then it shouldn't be a problem. Because just because somebody else who you don't like also likes the thing you like, that doesn't mean that you no longer are allowed to like it. You can like it too, and you can like it for the reasons that you like it for. And anybody who doesn't agree with you can kiss your ass. See, that's the thing that I think a lot of people nowadays, especially the kids nowadays, they were never taught how to tell people to just fuck off. But even like their immediate parents, people of my generation, like this lady here, someone who grew up in the 80s, she never learned just to tell people to kiss your ass and fuck off if you don't like it. And now she's offended that these childhood cartoons and franchises, things like the Flintstones and He-Man, are communicating or being interpreted in ways that she doesn't agree with. And the correct response is, fuck you.
Today we're going to talk about, I can't say it without laughing, Fisto's Forest. He-Man, at some point, introduced a character named Fisto. Everybody just soak this in for a second.
Yes, Fisto is gay. There's no denying the fact that Fisto is gay. Look at him. All right. But, does that mean it's bad? Does that mean it's wrong? Does that mean kids shouldn't be playing with his action figure? Let's see what she has to say before I comment some more.
Still wears a steel torture device fist on his, arm there, making a
I don't know if it's a torture
giant
device.
steel fist. Check out his little shorts there. I can't. Now, I turn to the Urban Dictionary for pretty.
Fisting. All right, first off, who says it's a torture device? I can tell you as a child, as a 10-year-old, when I got, the Fisto action figure in 1987 or whatever, the last thing I thought about was Fisto shoving his giant metal fist up somebody's ass. That was the last thing that I would ever imagine. And honestly, as an adult, I don't imagine that either. See, I think a lot, adults, as an adult, we tend to project stuff like this onto the franchises for kids and stuff like that. You know what I mean? This is purely adults projecting onto cartoon characters the sick, twisted shit that they think about. No kids in the 80s who were 10 years old were sitting there going, oh yeah, Fisto is gonna fist fucking Skeletor. That was not a thing. That wasn't a thing that anybody thought of until they were older and they learned about what fisting is. Right? Remember, the allegation for all of this is that this is some kind of evil plan for the maniacal Satan-worshipping trans and gay people to ruin our youth and turn them away from good, clean Christian morals and shit. That's what this whole thing is. That's why this woman is trans investigating the fucking Flintstones and losing her shit because she finally realized He-Man was gay. That's what we gotta remember. It's bullshit.
Pretty much everything. When I hear a word that I don't know, I just go to Urban Dictionary immediately and type it in. So this is what I.
Did she not know what fisting is? Are you fucking serious? You don't know what fisting is? You have to. All right, you said you were a child in the 80s. You have to be at least 45, probably close to 50 at this point. So how do you not know what this is? Have you just lived a sheltered fucking life your entire life? She's really going to try to pretend that her entire adult life she never learned what this term is. She's never heard somebody say, I'm going to fist that motherfucker. Never heard this ever. I don't believe her. I do not believe her. The same way that I don't believe that she ever went to West Hollywood and saw gay people frolicking in the streets. I think this woman is lying her fucking ass off. Moving on.
I thought it was, but I was just double checking. Urban Dictionary is good for that too. You know what I mean? Just to double check. You're I think I know what this means. Fisting is the act or art of putting a fist in the ass or vagina. A very popular practice among more evolved, parentheses, kinky gays, and requires great care and huge amounts of lubrication. So fisting is literally...
I can't take this seriously. All right, first off, so in order for this woman to not know what fisting is, I mean, how fucking sheltered does she have to be? So you've never talked to a gay person before in your entire life? You've never accidentally stumbled across fisting on the internet? On a porn site or something? Don't tell me that women don't use porn sites, because they do. Women like to masturbate. Maybe not as much, maybe they're not as horny as your average man is, but women masturbate too. Am I supposed to believe that this woman, who is at least 42, 43, 44, somewhere around there, for the last 40 years has never encountered the term fisting in any capacity whatsoever? Living in the United States, living in a country with internet access, she seems to be interested in speaking out against the LGBTQ community. She hasn't taken any time to learn about that community? Are you fucking serious? I don't believe her. I simply do not believe that's possible. That is the dumbest fucking shit ever. If that's possible, if she really went her entire life without learning anything about the people that she supposedly fucking hates so much, then this is the dumbest fucking woman who's ever lived.
Really putting your fist or somebody putting their fist up your butt, okay? I don't know why anybody would allow such a thing in either one of these spots. I would absolutely have a problem with it, but apparently this is something that people do.
Mm-hmm.
So far we've learned that He-Man is a gay icon. There's a character named Fisto who has a giant steel, iron, whatever this thing is, a giant fist, right? That's just,
Okay.
whole thing is already very gay, but we are just getting started. So after this video is done, I'm going to need you guys to check out this episode of He-Man. It's called Fisto's Forest. I can't even say it without laughing, right?
I mean, it is pretty gay. I'm not lying. It is pretty gay. If you haven't seen on Netflix, Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revelation, even they kind of played up the gayness when it came to Fisto. They were making fisting jokes and stuff like that. So, yeah, she's not wrong that the character is a gay icon. She's not wrong there at all. I don't see how it's, number one, damaging towards children. Because it isn't. Because there are no gay jokes or anything in Masters of the Universe. It's not like Fisto runs around, making any comments about fisting things. That's just not a thing that happens in the show at all. Number two, I can tell you as a 10-year-old who was really super into this stuff, this was not a thing that even crossed my mind. I didn't buy the Fisto action figure and then immediately want to go out and fist some dude in the street or whatever, right? It didn't turn me gay, okay? A toy cannot turn somebody gay. That's just not how it fucking works. I mean, I'm not even gay. I'm like fucking married to a woman and shit. I've been happily married for like 12 years. Where does the insidious brainwashing part come in? It's so fucking dumb. It's like conservatives and shit think all it takes to turn somebody gay is just to watch a cartoon, and then suddenly your kid's gay and that's it, the end. It's such bullshit. We've been interrupting her, so I'm gonna let her talk for a little bit more, because we're only 5 minutes in, and all she's done is just show us the character of Fisto. So let's get a little bit more into it. I've been shitting all over her, and I haven't been letting her say her piece, so let's continue.
And somebody online was like, oh, that would be a great porno name. No, honey, that would make a great gay club name. Fisto's Forest. Can't you just see it like decorated like a forest? Like, this guy Fisto, doesn't he look like he would be in the dungeon of a gay club, like in the late 70s, early 80s? Not that I've ever been to a gay club or in the dungeon of one, but if that exists, this is who's down there. I'm convinced of it.
You know what? I'm starting to think maybe this woman is gay. It's a little bit too much like, oh, I've never heard of Fisto, fisting and stuff like that before, but at the same time, oh, if there was a gay dungeon down, this is exactly the kind of guy. Well, how the fuck would you know? You didn't even know what fisting was before this video, right? Starting to kind of think that maybe Wretched Recess ain't all she's claiming to be, starting to think that she's having ulterior motives with these videos.
Okay, so I am going to walk you through this episode of Fisto's Forest of He-Man. I literally took notes. So I watched this so you don't have to, but I do recommend it. So let's get into it. First of all, did you know He-Man's actual name is Adam? I was yesterday years old when I learned that for the first time. I never knew his name was Adam. So
yeah. I mean, that is part central to the Masters of the Universe mythos. I'm wondering if she's going to say something about the name. Like, does the name Adam make somebody gay? I don't know. Let's continue.
It's seeming a little biblical there, as a lot of this stuff always ties in biblical stuff. But yes, He-Man is Adam, Master of the Universe person.
Okay.
And by the way, when he holds up his sword, wink, wink, his sword, he is the most powerful man in the universe. So, I mean, that's like gay already, right? So what I'm going to do is walk you through the best gay parts.
Why? Why is that gay? So, those of you who may not know where He-Man came from and where the transformation part came from, so there was a cartoon called Black Star that debuted a few years before Masters of the Universe. I think it came out like 1981, something like that. The premise of Black Star is very, very similar to that of Masters of the Universe. It featured a barbarian with a power sword on an alien planet fighting monsters, stuff like that. The exact same thing as He-Man. And they took basically the premise of Black Star and adapted it into Masters of the Universe, but they made a change. And one of the changes was they gave He-Man a secret identity. And it is more related to Shazam than anything else. So He-Man is not raising his power sword as a symbol for his dick or something like that, which is what she was alluding to. The trope, it's like a Superman Clark Kent kind of trope. Yeah, there was another show that came out in the 70s called Mighty Minotaur. It was 1967 was the first one, and it was about a sort of caveman with a magic club who would raise the club into the sky and like say a phrase, and he would turn into a superhero. And it was the exact same fucking thing as Hammond. So it's not like this trope. It's specifically the trope of raising the weapon and transforming is something that He-Man invented. It's from earlier tropes. So if you're going to try to say that He-Man is gay just for having a sword that he raises up and then transforms, then you got to say Shazam is gay. You got to say Black Star is gay. You probably have to say Superman is gay. There's really no difference between He-Man transforming with the power of Grayskull by raising the sword up and Superman going into a phone booth and transforming. I mean, Superman has to take his clothes off when he turns into Superman. Does that make him gay? It's kind of the dumbest fucking shit ever. Why am I even harping on this point? Because it kind of goes to show how you can take the most mundane of story elements and you can twist them around into something nefarious. It really is fucking ridiculous what this woman is saying. Let's continue.
A lot of notes here. It is absolutely epic. This episode is 21 minutes and 27 seconds.
Okay.
The first really gay thing that happens, and Fisto is like a bad guy, right? He's a bad guy. At a minute and 46 seconds, he holds up his giant metal steel fist, whatever this thing is, and he's like, "So you want to play, do ya?" And he does this like evil laugh. Okay, I wanted to make sure I was telling you the right thing. It's a large metal fist. Nothing gay about that. This here says Fisto is a large and muscular warrior with reddish-brown hair and a beard. I'm sorry.
See, she really doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. It's like she really is just looking at the outward physical appearance and judging the entire show solely based on that. Okay, yeah, Fisto looks gay, but the character in the show is not gay at all. The character in any of the related media is not gay. He doesn't run around raping little boys and shit like that. He's not running around shoving his fist up a fucking, like, some people's asses and shit like that. That's not a thing. This is all just stuff she's projecting. So I would like to show you guys something. This is the bad guy equivalent of Fisto. This is another character called Jitsu, which, if you think about it, actually is kind of a little racist. But you can see Jitsu's whole thing is that he has a big metal karate hand. See, the thing you got to remember with Masters of the Universe specifically is that everything is a pun. All of the characters' names are puns. You have Skeletor. Why? Because he looks like a skeleton. You have this guy, Jitsu. He has a giant metal karate hand. Fisto has a giant metal fist, so his name is Fisto. There's a crab guy. He's like a bad guy. His name's Clawful. He has a giant claw. One of the only female characters, the bad guy female character, her name is Evil Lynn. Like Evelyn, Evil Lynn. They're puns. Not a lot of thought did not go into the naming of these characters. I think more thought went into the action play value for these characters than the actual naming and backstories for them. It's not like Gone with the Wind here. These are toys. They're characters made to sell as toys. She's not even looking at it from that perspective. The fist had an action feature where you would pull it down and it would pop up like it was punching you in the face. The same thing with this one. This guy has the same action figure, so you could like pull his arm up and it would come down like he was karate chopping. No one ever says Jitsu is gay. He has a giant golden karate hand. No one's ever accusing him of shoving his hand up somebody's ass. It's kind of fucking ridiculous, but let's continue on.
Distinguishable mainly by his right hand, which is a large metal fist. Oh my god. And it does look like a torture device. Shout out to Channeling Dan. He is my friend, my online friend who told me about this episode, and we watched it together, and I haven't been the same since. And actually, it's this episode started off where like he was good, and then he explains his evil background to this young little handsome young man here on the left. And watch this. Hmm. Oh, look at Fisto picking up this young man and carrying him. This is looking a lot like the gay district I visited years ago. This is the kind of stuff that was happening right there.
She's lying, by the way. In the show, the kid is injured. So Fisto picks up the kid to go help him. And this is when you realize that Fisto's not a bad guy, because he's helping somebody. See, the thing about He-Man, the thing about the Filmation show especially, is that it was actually very milquetoast in its morality. At the end of every show, there would be a little moral lesson. Right. And, you would expect, because a lot of shows did stuff like this, like there'd be a thing at the end, like, be careful when you go swimming and don't drown and don't eat 30 minutes before you swim. Shit like that. You get stuff like that. And, they had them at the end of G.I. Joe as well. But the ones in He-Man were mostly like moral lessons. Be nice to people. Don't lie. That was a big one. They seem to be, tell the truth. Don't lie. Work hard. Understand people when you have fights with them. That was a big part of Masters of the Universe too. Teaching young kids to be nice to each other. And this is what the actual context of this image is. The kid hurt himself, and Fisto is helping him. But she doesn't see it like that. She sees it because she's a fucking raging homophobe. She sees a still image of an adult man carrying a child like that and has to assume that he's carrying him off to go butt rape him or something. And this homophobia, especially, the transphobia, homophobia, because remember, folks, this woman is a super fucking turf transphobe as well. This woman did an entire episode about how the fucking Flintstones are like brainwashing young children and turning them into transes and stuff like that. So it's fucking ridiculous. It's like the whole thing about these people is just the way shit looks. That's their only criticism they have. Like, they don't dive into any of the lore. They never dive into the context of the episode or anything like that. She watched it. She should be able to tell us what's going on in this scene. But she's not actually giving us the context of the scene. She's really just look at this still image. Oh, it looks sketchy. That's what it's all about. It's just surface level. Zero fucking context, zero subtext, zero fucking substance at all to this shit. Kind of fucking ridiculous. Moving on.
Going on right now. He then begins to stroke this young man's leg up and down. Look at his face. He keeps rubbing, by the way. This keeps going on.
Because the kid hurt his leg. But okay. That is the context of that image.
This gentleman here has some serious V-shaped clavicles. And we know from transvestigating, my original channel got pulled down if you're just coming across this, so I need to be very careful what I say. But V-shaped clavicles are a feminine trait. As you can
She's referring to this right here, right? The clavicle.
See here, these are V-shaped. This is
now, I want to show you guys something, right? Masters of the Universe, the figures themselves were extremely muscular because they originally started out as Conan the Barbarian, and then they realized that Conan was too, not cool for kids. It was too violent, shit like that, so they adapted it to their own thing. This is actually a vintage sculpt, so look at the actual sculpt. You see here the collarbones that come down, the clavicle. It's not V-shaped because this is a trans thing, as she's claiming. It's V-shaped because this is the actual sculpt of the figures that the show is based on. Because this is what you have in someone who's, like, think of somebody with a Schwarzenegger body. That's what this is supposed to be. This is somebody with, like, a Mr. fucking Universe Schwarzenegger, extremely fucking muscular kind of body. That's what they're going for. So you have all of this muscle definition. So you probably can't see that on the screen, so let me just make that a little bigger so that you can actually see it. See what's going on here? See how, like, defined the actual figure is, the sculpt, the muscles, stuff like that. That's what they were trying to capture. They were trying to make it like this giant, like, 300 pounds of just pure fucking muscle kind of thing. There's actually a documentary. Anybody who's really interested in this, there's a documentary on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us, where they talk about the origins of the toy line and how they came up with all this stuff. And it's actually very interesting. But I can tell you right here, it has nothing to do, like the fact that there's a V-shaped clavicle has nothing to do with, you know, them trying to hide evil satanic trans messages or some shit inside of the show. That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
Trait. As you can see here, these are V-shaped. This is 5 minutes and 7 seconds. Just wanted to show you this not gay at all pose. So this happens, and immediately after, okay, I'm literally not making any of this up. Right after Fisto did that pose, he has this like spider as a sidekick, and the spider is spitting something out. However, this guy gets jizzed. Right? I mean, what else could this be? It is sticky white goo. And
I mean, it's a spider web. Here's the thing. I know how it looks. Yeah, okay, it looks like, you know, the guy's getting jizzed on. But that's not what's actually happening. That's not how it happens in the show. Well, in the show, it's like there's a giant spider that fucking shoots a web all over a guy, and then he ends up captured in a web. And it's really just us as adults imposing our sick fucking minds onto this. Here's the thing, right? There are certain children's media, for example, like Ren and Stimpy. There's a really famous scene. In fact, I'm gonna look it up for you guys so that you can see what I'm talking about. There is a very famous scene in Ren and Stimpy where they're sawing wood. Ren is sawing wood on Stimpy's back, and it leaves a little pile of sawdust on his back afterwards. And it is very obvious what this was intended to be. And this actually aired on, like, TV and shit. This was actually aired on, like, a kid's show. I'm 100% sure none of the kids actually understood what was going on, but it was very much symbolic of anal copulation. I don't really think you can make the same argument for this scene in this episode. So first off, I would like to point out, all she really did was say, look at how he's standing, and then look at how he's standing here as well. And yeah, okay, it's a very awkward pose, but I'm saying there's absolutely no symbolism in this scene. I don't believe that the writers of the show wanted to sneak in any kind of references to sexual acts in this show at all. No, I don't think it's happening here because the show is very innocent. I mean, the character of Fisto himself is like, looks like a big, you know, leather daddy kind of thing, but none of the actions they actually undertake in the show reflect that. It's really just all projecting.
He has this like spider as a sidekick, and the spider is spitting something out. However, this guy gets jizzed. Right? I mean, what else could this be? It is sticky white goo, and he can't escape from it. Just soak that in for a minute. We're at 5 minutes and 14 seconds. I need you guys to watch this because, like, I can't play it because of copyright reasons, but he starts rocking back and forth in the jizz and he can't get out. So then at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, this is when Fisto is a bad guy. He has flashback to when he's a bad guy. And like He-Man and the friends are on the way to like Fisto's forest. Okay. And he says, I'll give them a sticky welcome. I'll give a sticky welcome. And then here's this spider, his friend, who's holding this person hostage.
Okay.
And Fisto wasn't playing. He delivers. He gives them a sticky welcome. This is a big old puddle of stickiness.
All right.
Literally, he laughs like this after all of that cum puddle is like spilling out from the spider. The spider is creating it, but like we all know what it is. And he's like, mwah, like it's just such a gay laugh, right?
That's another thing that these people tend to do. You notice what she just said? We all know what it is. Like everybody else is thinking the exact same shit that she's thinking. Like everybody else is automatically agreeing with her position. Like what she's saying is not weird or like bizarre in any way whatsoever, that it's just the logical conclusion that anybody would come to. That's kind of bullshit. It's like, no, that's what you think it is. All right, you think it's like some kind of weird sexual reference, when in real life it's not. It's a spider with a web. Now, the thing is, like I'm saying here, I'm not denying that the character of Fisto, or Masters of the Universe in general, does not have like gay symbolism. I am not denying that at all. It definitely does. If you watch some of the episodes out there, you look at the way the characters are dressed. If you just look at Prince Adam and just his outfit, it's like, yeah, okay, there's definitely some LGBTQ influence going on here. But as far as the actions in the show, none of the characters do anything even remotely sexual. Like, this is not sexual. If you didn't know, the reason why they're not running up and punching each other and stuff like that is because you weren't allowed to show that. Like, He-Man was like the first show where the good guy punches the bad guy, but even the way they did that, they never actually show He-Man hitting Skeletor. It's usually always something like Skeletor getting dumped in water, or Skeletor getting caught in a net. There's something like that. It's always some kind of goofy thing, or the Beastman getting caught in a cage. Something like that. You know, or maybe like when He-Man gets zapped, it'll be an ice ray, and he gets like frozen into a statue. There's never scenes of the characters beating the shit out of each other, and like stabbing each other, and getting like shot with fucking ray guns, and like, you know, getting their fucking arm burned off. It was never like that. So how do you have violence in a children's TV show where you're not allowed to have violence? Well, you do things like this. You do things like having a giant spider catch you in a web. And like, oh, you might get threatened, he's going to eat you, blah, 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 but he never actually eats you. Or you have him getting chased by a dinosaur, but the dinosaur never actually bites them. Stuff like that. And that's what this show is. That's what's going on here. Okay, it's not Fisto jizzing all over fucking, like, you know, the good guy or whatever. And like, that's really projection. She's seeing this stuff. She's looking at the superficial actions of the character and trying to claim that it's some kind of crazy-ass gay satanic conspiracy. Moving on.
And he laughs for like 10 seconds, so we're sure, like, we know exactly what this white sticky mess is. So these are like He-Man's friends, I think, and like I said, I've only seen this episode, and they're running into the forest, Fisto's forest, and they realize they've been duped. They're literally stuck in a puddle of jizz, and they cannot get out, and there's this whole thing where they're like lifting up their feet up and down, and they're stuck and trying to get out, and this is like disgusting, right?
Now, wait a second.
You guys have to go to 6 minutes and 33 seconds of this cartoon like this.
Wait a second. That's a woman. I thought you said this was all gay. I thought you said that this was gay hidden messages there to like brainwash little children into growing up and being gay and chopping their dicks off and shit like that. Well, that looks like a woman to me. So, is it not that gay? I mean, that's Tila. That's the only other female character in the whole damn show between her and the sorceress and like fucking Evil Lynn. But, I mean, that kind of throws a monkey wrench into your hypothesis there, right? I thought you were saying that Fisto was gay and that he was taking advantage of young little boys and shit like that and all that. But here I see a woman, a female, someone with a vagina and a uterus and breasts being caught in his evil, nefarious jizz trap. So what is it? Is he gay or is he not gay? Or is the whole thing just a bunch of bullshit that you morons just make up on the fly because you don't actually have anything of substance, and the only thing that you can fucking do is grift off of people's anger and hatred? I don't know.
This part is very funny. They're stuck. I mean, it's like ridiculous. And she said, it's like glue on the ground. And literally Fisto was watching all of this from behind the trees, and he's like, like he just thinks that this is hilarious, right? So He-Man finally comes along.
I mean, I'm not saying how this is gay. And he sees what's
going on, and I'm not even kidding you. He goes, so, Fisto wants to play rough, huh? Like, really, writers of this cartoon? Fisto with his metal fist And Puddles of Jizz wants to play rough. Yes, He-Man, it's true. And in the gayest scenario ever, He-Man pulls out his sword and lifts it up. And, you know, he's saying he has the power. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So now we come back.
Where's the gay part come into any of that? Where's the gay part come into that? Think about the hundreds and hundreds of cartoons that have this exact same scenario. Spider Monster uses webs to capture people, or other characters, or Mickey Mouse, or something like that, or something. I mean, are all of those cartoons gay too? Are all of those cartoons, do they all have a hidden nefarious anti-Christian message or whatever? Is that what you're trying to say? Or is it only this one because you think it looks gay? That's really what's going on here, if you guys haven't picked up on it. She's calling the cartoon gay and saying it's nefarious and it's bad for the kids and all that shit because she thinks it looks gay. It looks gay to her. And that's enough to ridicule it and call for it to be banned and censored and all that shit. Because that's what she's actually doing, by the way. With all of these sort of trans investigating the Flintstones and like claiming He-Man's gay, that's what she's really actually doing. She wants this shit to be banned. She wants this to be taken off of YouTube and for like there to not be any Blu-ray sales of it and to not be able to get it on streaming anymore. She wants it to be banned because she's a fucking lunatic. Just because of the way the shit looks, because she doesn't like the way it looks superficially. Please remember that. These people are fucking censors who want to control what you are allowed to see and watch and read and show to your children.
Back to the cum puddle, and He-Man, the superhero, saves the day by lifting these ladies out of the sticky, gooey jizz puddle on the ground.
Lifting these ladies, by the way. I mean, I can't see how it's so gay when there's heterosexual crap going on. I mean, I guess Fisto must be bisexual then, right? I guess that's what's going on here. I mean, at least I like how she acknowledged that yes, they are women, they are ladies. Well, I guess one of them's a kid, but still, there are females here. So that kind of undercuts her argument about it being so gay, right?
That was like, that's the big rescue of this cartoon. Like, I can't. It's so stupid. Like, it's just so ridiculously over the top gay and sexual. And it's like, this is the only episode of He-Man I've ever seen. Are they all like this? So they pulled this one out, and then they pull this one out. That down there is the sticky mess. I'm at 8 minutes and 5 seconds. And like, look how He-Man walks around in this like little, what do you call that thing? Like, it looks like a Speedo, like that kind of a thing. It's so gross. And the cum makes a popping sound when it popped off her feet just now. Just to recap real quick. So far within Fisto's forest, we have Fisto, who looks like, you know, I'm sorry, but like a big queer with a beard and a big metal fist, right? We have naked men, we have puddles of cum, and now we have men tied up.
If you thought that she wasn't homophobic, if you thought that she was just merely there to protect the little baby children from what she thinks are inappropriate images in a, you know, cartoon, I think the slur right there probably should dispel you of that notion. You know, that's the thing about this shit, right? It's like, these people are fucking hypocrites. They're absolute hypocrites. I'm not homophobic. Oh, I have gay friends. Isn't that how she started this video here? I have gay friends. I'm not homophobic. I like gay people. You know, later on, she's using slurs in her video to describe gay people, the gay people that she supposedly doesn't have a problem with. I don't know if this really would be beneficial for us to continue here, because it's kind of frustrating. It's frustrating to see shit like this. It's like, I don't know, conservatives are just so fucking media illiterate. Yeah, you know what, let's stop this. You know, I don't think we're gonna get anything else of substance out of this video. So let's go ahead and just turn that shit off. Because this woman is a fucking moron. I mean, here's the thing about all this, right? Through that entire video, she didn't examine anything of substance whatsoever. She gave us the most barest of minimum of rundown for the plot. But she didn't even try to, like, go through and explain what the plot was. I mean, that episode is all about how it's not too late to turn your life around. Fisto is he's like a bandit. That's what he is in that episode. He's a bad guy. He's a bandit. He's like robbing people and stuff like that. And then, you know, they show that, oh, well, he actually helps someone when somebody needs help. By the end of the episode, he's a good guy. He reforms. He helps helps the heroes, and he joins the heroes. He joins the masters, right? That's what the episode's actually about, but she didn't talk about that at all. She didn't talk about the message of the episode. She didn't talk about the moral of the episode. She didn't talk about any of that. She didn't even really talk about the characters, what their motivations were, anything like that. She didn't talk about any of that whatsoever. Her entire criticism was just on how it looked. The character design of one character, and then how another guy had collarbones and like a clavicle that she thought was just a little not like manly enough or whatever. Like wasn't drawn manly enough for her tastes. And then a spider that shoots webs that grabs people that she thinks looks like jism. That's it. That's her entire criticism of it. Am I the only one here who thinks that this is lacking any substance whatsoever? Was there a lot of substance in that criticism? Was there? Did I just not pick up on it because of my, like, evil fucking liberal tree-hugging bias? Did she say something, like, great and profound and, like, all that shit and I just missed it? Because I couldn't find that at all in her entire video there. Like, we watched, like, fucking more than half of it, and it was just literally her talking about how everything looks. It looks like his clavicles are too fucking V-shaped. Fisto looks like a guy that should be in a fucking, like, sex dungeon or whatever. Oh, I've never heard of the term fisting before. Get the fuck out of here. If you want to criticize something, if you want to criticize a cartoon for being gay or something, right? If that's what you want to do, then fine, do it. But give me an actual substantive argument. Tell me why you think it's gay and it's bad for kids. Give me a substantive argument as to why you think children shouldn't watch it. Because she didn't fucking do that. And I don't think this person is capable of that shit. Because like all conservatives, every fucking thing she says is just all about how she feels. It's all about how it looks and how the way it looks makes her feel. There's no actual facts or substance to any of it. It's just complete, total fucking bullshit. And that's summing up homophobia and transphobia in one sentence right there. It's complete fucking bullshit. Fuck this woman. Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.